Yeah, welcome back to the podcast. I'm still with Odion, the man they call Odirov. Hmm. Let's go to that name, Odirov. What brings about Odirov?
Well, it's an interesting one. As at the time I entered the chess scene,
Okay.
w- we our main access to chess around the world was through books known as chess informants, and we would always see all these Russian-sounding names dominating. So the idea was that the best players in the world then were Russians, which is actually that's a fact.
Kasparov,
And the world
Popov.
champion then, we had Anatoly Karpov, and then of course Garry Kasparov took over.
Yeah.
And then we had some other people with interesting names like Beliavsky, and things like that. So the idea was that if you were good in chess, you had to be like the Russians.
It was actually
So
synonym to
so
the
you
name.
would either become Rov or Ski.
Okay.
And I was seen as being so good that I had Rov and Ski. So my name Odion now became Odirov Ski.
Odirovsky. Wow. So that's how the name comes. But people, you play more of blitz in those days.
Well, I've always loved speed chess. I've always loved blitz because I like fast games that require instant decisions.
I watched you several times. Even though then I'm used to be very far away from most people, I just come around, look, and look. The way you give them just time, how do you describe it? Describe it. Let people have
No.
understanding of what please. How you give them a short, time. The most opponent you play in blitz.
Okay, so the thing is that blitz is speed chess. It's the fastest form of chess.
Okay.
Nowadays, we have super blitz. Earlier on those days, we used to have blitz, which was 5 minutes. Super blitz is 3 minutes. So the 5 minute game, you have to play very fast. But it's not just fast. You also have to be able to know what you are doing.
Think.
You think because it's not just about making moves without
Thinking.
thinking. So somehow I had this ability to be able to picture the game very rapidly,
Wow.
and to the point where I could even give my opponents time
You
odds.
give them odds.
For
I saw
example,
it.
I
Now.
could play 1 minute or even 30,
Yeah.
30 seconds against 5 minutes
Yes, I saw
because
it.
all I required to make my decisions was just seconds.
Yeah.
Within a second, I could just instantly see everything on the board.
Hmm.
So I've always loved playing blitz. It's always one of my great loves.
That's good. That's Odirov. If you don't know him, he's the man they call Odirov. Now let's go to another question. Education at university with chess. That's one of the time you become so active in chess. How do you manage your education at UI and chess?
It's actually very difficult. It's a challenge to be able to manage education and chess because chess is something that requires a lot of effort and a lot of time. So if you're going to become
Read a
a
lot of
professional chess player, it's going to be difficult to combine it with studies. What most people do nowadays is they first of all focus on getting to the peak in chess, and then they go to formal studies. That's those that want to become professional chess players.
Yeah.
Alternatively, what others do is they participate up to a level and then use the knowledge gathered from chess to enhance their studies. So then they focus more on studies, and afterwards they're just kind of like casual players. So it all depends. It's the same with any sport because if you look at football, you see there are a lot of professional football players who decided to go into football from an early age.
Yeah.
They were not able to combine it with schoolwork. Maybe much later on they would decide to go back to university.
Yeah.
So it's just the way sports is. If you're going to become a professional sports, a professional athlete, then there has to be some compromise on the other side.
Do you think that is affecting because if you compare ourselves with advanced country, do you think it's affecting our chess?
Well, in a way, I would say yes, but that's only because of our educational system. Our educational system puts a lot of focus on paper degrees. What that means is that when you go to university, you have a lot of theoretical things, and those theoretical things take a lot of your time. Whereas in other countries, advanced countries, they look more at practical skills. What are you able to do? What that means is that it is not compulsory for you to go to a university to be seen as a success. You could go to a technical school, you could go to a vocational school, you could acquire skills in technology which require courses which don't mean that you have to study full time to get a BSc or some other BA or some other degrees. So it has to do with our structure of education, I would say. Once we can move more towards practical skill acquisition and how they can how those skills can enhance the growth of our society, and away from this focus on theoretical study to get
Certificates.
a certificate which might not necessarily be able to give you real life
Mm.
skills that you can use. Once we do that, then I think we will overcome this challenge.
Wow, wow. Now let's go and you as a player, you also combine coaching. Now let's talk about sports festival in Nigeria. Now, because of our time, I need to put things together. Being a player, do you think it is good that we always bring professionals to come and play our festival, or you bring raw talent, people who are not exposed to play at our sports festival?
This is a topic that concerns me personally
Okay.
because of my meteoric rise in chess in the early 90s. By the time I wanted to play the National Sports Festival, I was told I was not eligible because I had already represented the country on 2 occasions. So I never had the chance to play the National Sports Festival. But in 2002, there was a proposal that the sports festival should be opened to so-called professionals. That's people who had already passed the eligibility criteria.
That was the one that was heading Abuja.
Edo State, Edo
Okay,
2002.
okay.
Now, during that festival, I was employed by Delta State, but at the last minute there was a change, and they said no, that they will not allow professionals. So I became a coach. So what I did was I coached Delta State, and they swept all the medals. So for the next few years, I was a coach. I was coaching, but then in 2018 in Abuja, the festival was now opened up to professionals, so to speak, and I was able to participate, and I won a festival medal. So if not for that opportunity, I would never have had the chance to say I have a medal from the National Sports Festival.
Wow.
So it's a very difficult one. I would say that the National Sports Festival maybe needs to be looked at. It is the pinnacle of sporting competition in the country. Because all the way from youth games to university games to National Sports Festival. But what we should also realize is that the National Sports Festival, being the pinnacle of sporting competition, means that after the National Sports Festival, the next competition you can participate in is the Olympics. And if you are going to be able to participate in the Olympics or Commonwealth Games, then you need to be at a level which is beyond that of amateur, so to speak. And if you come and say you are limiting the National Sports Festival to people who are amateurs, then those people, by the time they finish the National Sports Festival, they will not be ready to compete at the Olympics or the Commonwealth Games. So I kind of agree that yes, people should not be restricted when it comes to participating in National Sports Festival. The only thing that we can say is that maybe we should not just employ people as strict mercenaries. That even if people are participating for a state, then they should have some kind of affiliation with that state, and they should be able to give back to that state after they finish their competition.
That's good. So, how many states have you taught? As a coach, have you handled as a coach?
Well, it's only Delta State. I officially coached Delta State for about 11 years.
11 years.
About 11 years, but unofficially, I'm always available. I have trained individuals, and of course, I've been based in Oyo State all my life. So whenever I've had the opportunity, I've been able to share my knowledge. But in terms of coaching a state officially, it's only Delta State I've coached.
Okay, that reminds me. Let me quickly go back a little bit. Nuga, because I've not talked about it. You played at Nuga.
Yes, I played.
What was your experience, and how did you, maneuver?
Nigerian University Games was fun. My very first University Games was where I played chess. My first very serious chess competition, and that was in 1990 in Calabar. It was interesting. I played. I participated on the UI team. We came out with bronze, and it was fun. But after that, I participated in subsequent Nuga games. I won gold. I won silver, and I think it was really an enlightening experience, because when I got to the Nuga games, I saw people participating in different sports, and these guys were playing like the professionals I used to watch on television. So the University Games is a fantastic institution, and I sincerely hope that they continue to promote it.
Wow, that's good. Now, let's talk about the involvement of government. Do you think the government is doing enough for the game of chess compared to? Don't let us even talk about football, because it has taken the whole, concentration of the government. Now, do you think they are doing at least, let's say, give them an average, maybe 25% or 30%? Do you think they are doing enough?
This is an interesting discussion point, which I have spoken about with several sports administrators and journalists over the years. Again, I think I am very well placed to discuss about this because I did a master's in sports management and business of football. I did it at the University of London several years back.
Okay.
And then I was able to study sports administration and sports management in detail. When I did my thesis was on the difference between sports organizations in Africa and sports organizations in Europe in particular. I localized it to Europe. And what I found out was that even though a lot of our sports organizations and associations are based on the models in Europe, we don't operate them the same way. In Europe, most of their sports organizations are independent from government. What government does is that government only keeps control of the function of grassroots sports development. But in terms of what you call semi-professional and professional sports, it is independent. But across Africa and in Nigeria in particular, we have institutions where government is seen as the one involved in even organizing leagues. And that's not correct.
And also bringing the club, sponsoring the club.
Yes, and that can't work because what you need to have is you need to have a certain level of independence from sports organizations, sports associations, sports federations, and they should leave government to be involved at local government level, grassroots. So government can be the ones to organize and say, okay, you people come together, let's have sporting activities for physical fitness, for recreation, and to keep people out of trouble. But once you say you want to organize a league, you want to take sports more seriously, it has to be independent. So this question of whether government is doing enough is the difficult one because in my own opinion and from my own training as a sports management professional, government should not even be involved in the first place. Government should only give regulations. It should be the sports organizations that should go out just for sponsorship, sign deals, and focus on leagues and making professionals.
Thank you. Now let me go back to in the 90s. We have a lot of tournaments like Concord. We have Nepa Igni. I remember that Nepa Igni. I think that was the first tournament I saw you. You are representing Nigeria because we have a lot of other foreign people. They came all over the Africa and some other parts. Then we have MBL, we have Share. We have so much. And suddenly everything just diagnosed. And do you think at a particular time, because there were no tournament, it affected chess in Nigeria?
Well, again, we have to put things in perspective. There have always been tournaments. So you could say these were marquee tournaments that people looked forward to, that would really bring the cream de la cream, of Nigerian chess together. But then again, these tournaments were localized to 1 or 2 cities. What has happened in the years since is that these major sponsors have stepped aside, but smaller events have come up. So what has really been happening is that now we have more chess players, more competitions, but we have fewer big events where the top chess players can gather and showcase their skills. So in the media, it looks as if we don't have so many top players participating again, but we now have more people participating at the lower level. It's kind of also the way the country has gone. If you say, for example, we don't really have an upper class and a lower class, we just have everybody in the middle class. So it's just natural evolution.
Okay. Now, you are the president of the representative of chess players in Nigeria. Now, what is the aim and the objective of this body?
The Nigerian Chess Federation, the board of the Nigerian Chess Federation, as constituted by the Federal Ministry of Youth and Sports, has a slot for the players representative. And the idea is that this players representative, who first came on board in 2011, I think I was the 2013. Sorry, I was actually the pioneer players representative for the Chess Federation. The idea is that this is a person on the board who can provide representation from the players, because before then, the boards of sports federations would only have people who are coming from government or coming from administration. The idea is to have a voice of the players so that when the board is making a decision, then the views or the concerns of the players can be taken into consideration.
Okay.
So that's what it's about.
Okay, that's good. Now let's go to technology in chess. We used to think chess is about your brain, your thinking, just your ability. In the 90s, we have the IBM chess program. I mean, probably debated to Kasparov. Then we have the Deep Blue. But now in this modern day we have right now, we have the AI. We have chips. Like I told you the other time, the first time I saw a player being screened with detective machine, I was like, what is going on? Is that a rubbish somewhere? Then until I begin to come across the case of Magnum against one opponent, all these internet, whatever, Can you explain to the people what are the efficacy and what are the implications, what are the effects of both good and sad of the modern day technology in chess?
Uh, I think the easiest way to explain modern day technology is miniaturization.
Mhm.
When I say miniaturization, I mean you talk about the difference between the mainframe computer of those days
Okay.
and the pocket computer of these days. So, for example, your mobile phone is effectively a computer. What your mobile phone can do now,
Hmm.
in those days, you need a whole house the size of like a two-story building.
Yes, yes, yes.
That's why you have a mainframe, you have big units everywhere, and all those things will calculate and calculate and calculate to give you just one tiny result.
Results.
But now on your phone, you can just press one button
Hmm.
and it will tell you everything you need to know.
Hmm.
In those days, if you wanted to know more about the world, you need to go to a library, you look for encyclopedia, you search up and down. Now you use Google.
Yeah.
If you want to know how many people are in Nigeria, you say Google, how many people, what's the population?
Hmm.
If you want to know what's happening right now in America, you say Google, what's happening right now in America?
Hmm.
In those days, you have to look for one news network.
Hmm.
So, as technology has evolved, so has the ability of people to use technology.
Hmm.
Now, with this new technology, the ability to assist people in things like chess, to help in calculations or chess about calculations has increased. So now you have somebody who might be able to take a very small device and use it to input a chess position and say calculate the best probability for me. So this is what it's all about, and it's simply because we now have access to more computing power at a very small scale, which can be held in the palm of our hands. And it's available to everybody. It's now ubiquitous. Everybody now can now get access to a computer.